Hi, I'm Sonia from Vidya Guru, starting a new session on current affairs, July 2020. The session is important as I generally say that. If you like the session, please press the like button for sure, share the video with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to Vidya Guru's YouTube channel. You have to press the bell icon so that you can get the notifications of all the exam relevant videos which we upload. One more important thing is, as you guys can make out that this session is in English medium, there are people who are not comfortable with the language. You can switch to the Hindi medium session that is there in the playlist. We are actually going to start this session, and I generally say that this session is primarily for our students, those who are from South India, those who are from Northeast India. But obviously, English is comprehensible to all. Whosoever can understand that can watch the session. There's no problem as such. I'll start with the first question. You yourself can judge that the questions are very, very relevant from the perspective of all the competitive exams. I'll start with the first question, which is about United Nations Security Council. By even listening to the collection of these words, you can make out that when we talk about United Nations Security Council, the question becomes important for us. Why? Because India has gained some position here. And what is that? So I'll start reading it from the first point. Start reading it. India to be the non-permanent member of United Nations Security Council for 2 years. Now, there's a basic thing that I wish to explain here. You need to be aware of it, and that is, there's a structure of United Nations Security Council. There are 5 permanent member nations. There are 5 permanent member nations in United Nations Security Council. But apart from that, there are 10 non-permanent members also. 10 non-permanent members also. So we are not talking about those 5 permanent members. As the word permanent is there, that means they are not replaceable. But those 10 which are non-permanent, they are replaceable. They are actually chosen. But when they are chosen, when they leave, that we are going to discuss one by one. In that category, non-permanent member category, India got the position here. That means India got elected there for 2 years, and the period is for 2021 to 2022. So India will be the member of non-permanent member list, as in India will be the non-permanent member of United Nations Security Council for 2 years, and I told you the year, that is 21 to 2022. India's objective will be the achievement of norms. Here you guys can see that norms does not mean that we are talking about the word norms here. Norms has some expanded form, some full form of it, and that is new orientation for a reformed multilateral system. When I actually move ahead, I wish to tell you something else, and that is India will actually have the presidency of United Nations Security Council. We need to understand something else too. When non-permanent members are there, the presidentship rotates basically. India is going to be the president. See, there's nothing new happening here. Everything is the same. I'm just explaining it that when non-permanent members are there, they get the presidentship one by one. India is going to be the president of United Nations Security Council in the month of August, but in the year 2021. So August 2021 is the time when India will be the United Nations Security Council's president. I'll tell you something else again, and that is non-permanent United Nations Security Council's members elected every year, but they are only 5. Not all the 10 are elected every year. Only 5 are elected. Their tenure, their duration is 2 years. The duration of non-permanent members, that is 2 years. And I told you at the start that 5 permanent members are there and 10 non-permanent members are there. Let's move ahead with the second question. As per National Statistical Office, NSO, India's position in terms of purchasing power parity for 2017, must be thinking that we are in 2020, why I have started talking about 2017. You need to understand there's possibility that data is released later on. So we have to talk about that when something is in news, and it is actually about India, where India is marked the third largest economy in terms of what? In terms of purchasing power parity. And what is purchasing power parity? See, when I am an Indian and with my money, I can buy a few things. That means I am trying to say with my currency, my capability of buying, with my currency, my capability of buying things is purchasing power parity. And that purchasing power parity, that is basically third. Actually India got the third rank there, and the first rank was of China and the second rank was of USA. But there's something else to it. People must be thinking that USA remains at the top. Here we are not talking about in terms of GDP. You generally think that in terms of GDP, USA is on the top. I know that. You know that too. I'm talking about purchasing power parity, and I told you when a person's currency is there and what that person can buy with his currency, that is purchasing power parity. And in terms of that, number one is China, number two is USA, and as per that, we are third largest economy. Let's move to the other question. FIFA 2023 Women's World Cup Football. Here we are going to talk about the host countries and not country. That means there are two nations which are actually sponsoring, which are going to host this particular event. FIFA, that means football. 2023 is the year when Women's World Cup is going to take place, and I told you Australia and New Zealand both are going to be the host of it. Let's move to the other question. 50,000 crore Garib Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan launched across 6 states. I wish to tell you something else here. When we talk about Garib Kalyan, we are talking about the welfare of poor. Welfare of poor, for those who cannot understand Hindi at all. I was saying we are talking about the welfare of poor. Apart from that, and how that is going to be achieved, Rozgar, the word means employment will be given to poor. By providing them employment, they will actually remove the poverty. That is the welfare for the poor. 50,000 crore, that is the project, that is the value of the project, that is the value of the Abhiyan which is there for the poor. And what they are going to do there, they are going to provide employment opportunities to those migrant workers who actually left states and went to their own state. They expect that those laborers should get job nearby their residence, nearby their place only. That is why they are skill mapping them. Skill mapping of rural labor is happening. The duration is 125 days, and the districts which will be covered for it, that is 116 districts will be covered. I'll explain that. I was saying 6 states are covered. 125 days, that's the duration where they'll be doing skill mapping. Districts covered, 116 districts are covered, and nodal ministry, the ministry behind it, Ministry of Rural Development, which is actually trying to generate employment for poor workers, those who have actually left the states. Let's move to the other question. Sankalp Parv. See, these are two Hindi words, and this is basically, some scheme sort of, thing. Parv, they are celebrating something. Sankalp Parv, you will not be able to associate it with something very easily. Except reading, you will not be able to make out what is written here. Sankalp Parv is about plantation of trees. We are planting trees here. Sankalp Parv is associated with plantation of trees, and that is launched by Ministry of Culture. Because of that, Union Minister of State for Culture and Tourism becomes important for us, and that is Prahlad Singh Patel. The duration which they have actually mentioned here, that is 28th June to 12th July. That means this period will be celebrated as Sankalp Parv. That means during that period they will be planting trees. Let's move to the other question. RBI increases minimum net owned funds of housing finance companies from 10 crores to 20 crores. What does that mean? Something is written, something is very important that you can make out, but I'll explain that. We'll try to make it easier for you. I'm saying RBI has increased. What have they increased? Earlier something was of 10 crores. Now it has become 20 crores, and it is about housing finance companies. What is that? Housing finance companies, as you can understand by the name, that they provide money, they lend money to people and to builders and to real estate companies. You are aware. They invest in bonds also. They do a lot many things. They invest in mutual funds also. But I am saying housing finance companies are about housing finance. They take money from banks, they provide loans to us, people like us. What is it about? It does not mean that everything will be taken from the bank and then they'll be actually providing loans to the people. It cannot be the case. They need to have something of their own. So HFCs are expected to have minimum net own funds of their own. That means that was earlier 10 crores. Now they have to have their own, that means minimum net own funds of their own. I'm emphasizing that, of their own, that is 20 crores. They need to have their own funds, that is 20 crores, and then they can take money from the bank. Then they are actually eligible to take money from the banks, and then they can provide you the loan. Apart from that, there are other conditions also. Minimum percentage of housing loans, real estate lending, and an HFC must have as its net assets, that is 50%. Must be thinking, what is that? See, as the name suggests, they are housing finance companies. So obviously they have to lend money to real estate companies or individuals, those who are willing to buy homes. 50% of their investment. I told you at the start that they use their money for mutual funds, to invest in mutual funds, to buy bonds. They do a lot many things basically. But out of their money, which they take from the banks, they have to provide 50% in the real estate lending, where they'll be providing money to builders also and individuals also. But again, there's a condition. In the third part, if you read it carefully, out of all these assets, at least 75% out of that 50%, 75% of that 50% should be given to individual home buyers. Please understand that they provide money to companies and builders also, but I said 75% of that 50% should be given to individual home buyers too. Let's move to the other question. All these percentage, they matter a lot. Asset size for non-deposit taking HFCs. I'll read that first of all and then I'll explain that. Asset size for non-deposit taking housing finance companies, ND, non-deposit taking, to be treated as systemically important housing finance companies if their size is rupees 500 crores or more. But all deposit taking housing finance companies, irrespective of asset size, to be treated as systemically important HFCs. That means we are talking about two types of HFCs. Okay, let's be careful here. There are two types of HFCs we are going to discuss. The first one is deposit taking HFCs, deposit taking housing finance companies, and there are other ones which are non-deposit taking housing finance companies. Non-deposit taking, let's keep them aside. I am talking about deposit taking HFCs. All of them, irrespective of their size, not keeping their asset size in mind. I'm saying all type of HFCs which are deposit taking, they are systemically important housing finance companies. All of them, irrespective of their asset size. Okay, let's move to the non-deposit taking housing finance companies. Non-deposit taking housing finance companies, asset size for non-deposit taking HFCs to be treated as systemically important HFCs when their size is more than 500 crore or 500 crore. So don't forget the classification here. I'll move to the other question. Urban cooperative banks, multi-state cooperative banks. You've heard too many things about them, the kind of blunders were actually going on, and the people, so many people were there, lost money because of them, because they deposit money in urban cooperative banks. Now what RBI is doing, RBI is trying to actually bring them under its supervision. So urban cooperative banks and multi-state cooperative banks, both sort of banks, will come under the supervision of RBI, Reserve Bank of India. And doing that, if they wish to do something of this sort, they have to amend something. They have to make changes to some act, because there's some banking act. So that Banking Regulation Act 1949 was amended, was modified to allow such a thing. Because earlier, you guys are aware that cooperative banks and multi-state cooperative banks did not fall under RBI, but now they are under the supervision of RBI because of Banking Regulation Act 1949. They may ask you the name of the act in the exam. That is why I am teaching you this act also. Let's move to the other question. Michael Martin has been elected Prime Minister of Ireland. New Prime Minister of Ireland, Michael Martin. New President of Serbia. New President of Serbia, that is Alexander Vučić. Alexander Vučić has become the new President of Serbia. Don't forget that. Let's move to the other question. Agreement for first hydropower project. First, that means this is the first project between India and Bhutan. They may ask you the name of the nation, and there's a possibility they may ask you the name of the project also, that is Kolongchu project. Kolongchu project is going to be there between India and Bhutan. They may ask you the size of it, and that is 600 megawatt. 600 megawatt, that's the size, that's the kind of electricity that project can produce. So agreement for first hydro power project signed between India and Bhutan. The name of that project is Kolongchu project, and the capacity is 600 megawatt. India has also signed MOU on environment cooperation, natural resources with Bhutan. Let's move to the other question. National Doctors Day is observed on 1st July. World Population Day is observed on 11th July. Let's move to the other question. 36th ASEAN Summit chaired by Vietnam. 36th ASEAN Summit. ASEAN means Association of Southeast Asian Nations. That means Association of Southeast Asian Nations. That actually makes ASEAN. So 36th ASEAN Summit chaired by Vietnam. The country which chaired it, which headed that summit. So Vietnam headed 36th ASEAN Summit. Team which was kept for this, that was Cohesive and Responsive ASEAN. Cohesive and Responsive ASEAN. That was the theme of 36th ASEAN Summit. The next question is, RBI to launch floating rate savings bond 2020. They are taxable, and the scheme will start from July 1st, 2020. The tenure for it, that was 7 years. What is that? In the previous video, I explained something where the fixed rate, that was 7.75%. There were bonds which were called RBI bonds or Government of India bonds. 2018, but they were abolished, as in they are not using it. They have actually, the government has actually withdrawn it. The reason was, see, nobody is in a position to provide 7.75% interest these days. You are aware. You are not getting this much interest in FD even. So I am saying even not to senior citizens. So nobody is in a position to provide 7.75% fixed interest. They've removed that scheme. Now they have brought something in place of that scheme. I was saying RBI to launch. That means they are going to start something new from 1st July 2020. They've already started that. The launch of it, that is on the basis of floating rate. Floating rate, that means the rate will change as per the market. If there's obviously, some sort of jump in the market, the rate will increase. If there's some sort of slowdown, the rate of the interest will fall. So floating rate will keep changing. That sort of interest rate and those savings bonds will be provided, and they are taxable. The tenure can be asked, and that is 7 years. Let's move to the other question. G20 Extraordinary Virtual Education Ministers Meet 2020 attended by Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank attended this G20 Education Ministers Meet on behalf of India, and he is Union HRD Minister. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank is our Union HRD Minister, and he has attended G20 Education Ministers Meet. Let's move to the other question. UP Governor Anandiben Patel. That's how you got to know that Anandiben is the governor of Uttar Pradesh. Now she has been given the charge of Madhya Pradesh also. That means she has not become the CM of Madhya Pradesh. She has been given the responsibility of being the governor of Madhya Pradesh. That means she is handling UP as a governor. See, one person can be the governor of multiple states. That is there in our constitution. Anandiben Patel is the governor of Uttar Pradesh presently, and she has become the governor of Madhya Pradesh also. Let's move to the other question. First Indian company to be valued. Now listen to the value of it. First Indian company to be valued at US dollar 150 billion. Yes, that is pretty high, very, very high. So first Indian company to be valued at US dollar 150 billion, that is Reliance Industries Limited. Let's move to the other question, and that is RBI has extended the enhanced borrowing facility for banks under MSF till 30th September 2020. MSF is marginal standing facility. Marginal standing facility where, banks borrow money from RBI. But you need to understand, everybody requires money, and that too on easier terms. That is why the RBI has extended the duration of this enhanced borrowing facility for banks till 30th September. That means they can buy loans on easier terms till that duration. Banks, I'm referring to banks, that RBI has extended this enhanced borrowing facility. That means for banks under MSF, marginal standing facility, till 30th September, keeping things easier for banks. So that RBI extends minimum 80% CRR maintenance for banks till 25th September. That means whatever percent of CRR had to be maintained with RBI, only 80% of it has to be maintained with RBI. This is for banks and till 25th September only. Let's move to the other question. Commission to examine subcategorization of OBCs, that means other backward classes. There's some sort of subcategorization is happening, and that subcategorization will be looked after, will be examined by G. Rohini committee. So G. Rohini committee, see, it is not about that they may ask you details of these things in your exams. What they ask you, that this particular committee is related with what? Generally what happens is, they'll give you some name like G. Rohini committee. It is associated with what? Then you have to explain that. That is why I've written them in points where I've mentioned them a little about them. That is Commission, G. Rohini committee, G. Rohini commission to examine subcategorization of other backward classes. Apart from that, there is Rajnath Singh committee. Rajnath Singh committee for emergency credit line guarantee scheme implementation for MSMEs. That means, see, when we talk about emergency credit line, why emergency credit is required? Who requires that? MSMEs require that. Micro, small, medium enterprises require emergency credit line. I'm saying that sort of credit line, that means loan. Emergency loan should be provided to MSMEs. Referring to that scheme, Rajnath Singh committee will look after the implementation of this emergency credit line guarantee scheme. Niti Aayog committee to develop job platform for migrant labor. Amitabh Kant committee. Amitabh Kant committee is basically a committee of Niti Aayog, and that committee will develop job platform for migrant workers. The next question is Vivekananda Yoga University, and that is world's first yoga university. But you must be thinking, a few days back there was a video in which I taught you there was a yoga university is going to come up in India, but that is why actually, to clarify that, I've written that outside India, the first university, the first yoga university to come up in Los Angeles, USA. Vivekananda Yoga University, world's first yoga university outside India, launched in Los Angeles, USA. The next question is, first Hindu temple to come up in Pakistan's capital, and that is Islamabad. Yes, that's pretty strange. Islamabad is the place where the first Hindu temple, that is Shri Krishna temple, will be built. I told you in Pakistan, it is pretty new for all of us. So don't forget that, it is important. The next question is India's first two world-class airport-like railway stations. Airport-like, that means they are going to appear to us like they are like airports basically. They are railway stations only, but they'll be built in that grand manner where they'll appear to us like airports. They'll be of that type. The first one is Habibganj in Madhya Pradesh, and the second one is in Gandhinagar, Gujarat. So such sort of two railway stations will come up and they look like airports. Kushinagar Airport, Kushinagar, you can relate Kushinagar with Gautam Buddha. So Kushinagar is in Uttar Pradesh, that we all know. But they are saying Kushinagar Airport has been declared an international airport and it is located in Uttar Pradesh. I told you at the start. I'm wrapping up here. Please keep watching and thank you for watching this video.